Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our June 19th, 2018 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including my trip to Metropolis, Illinois for the Superman celebration. We're going to be talking about the Supergirl Season 3 finale and so much more. We'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works, let me introduce you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. Now, if you're watching this live, you're either doing it via our Facebook page or directly on our website. Seeing as how we're beaming this live across the internet and therefore around the planet Houston, we'd love to hear from Superman fans from right around the world. So to call in and talk to us tonight, you'll need to use Skype. Open up Skype, search for Superman Homepage, and send us a message saying you'd like to chat with us live tonight, and we'll try to get to you on the second half hour of our show. But given how much we have to cover tonight, I don't know how much we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. And for those of you tuning in live via Facebook to watch tonight's show, below that video, we invite you to post your comments and ask questions, and Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments so we can react to them throughout the show. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray and Douglas Meacham. Thank you for your support. I've missed you, Mike. How have you been?
Oh, well, I'd say it's been quiet, but, you know, we've had the end of the Supergirl season and all the announcements that came with that. We've had Man of Steel. So while you were living it up with the celebrities and the people at the celebration, I was reading comics and watching television. So I think you got the better end of that deal.
Yeah, I will. I totally enjoyed my time in Metropolis. It's been 5 years since my previous visit, and my sister and I flew over there for the celebration this year, which was fantastic. It was great to be back in Metropolis. It really is a home away from home. If you haven't been there, Superman is the reason we go there, but the people that you meet there are the glue that just keeps you coming back, and it really is just a phenomenal feeling when you go there. Yeah, you can go to conventions and you can go to other, places where you find Superman fans, but the Superman celebration is specifically for Superman fans, and therefore you really feel at home amongst other Superman fans. You just feel like you belong, and it really was a real nice kind of pat on the back that I needed just to re-energize me for to keep going, because you do feel a little bit isolated here in Australia, away from everybody else, and going over there amongst all the Superman fans and getting the nice recognition, people coming over and asking me to have a photo with me and telling me about how much they love the website and to keep up the great work. It really was just the re-energizing that I needed.
I'm glad you had that. I wish I could have gone. I'm hoping in the next couple of years to go again. Especially since the meet and greet has grown so exponentially that we're it's not like I joke about this, but it's not like 10 people standing around a picnic table anymore. You've got the Hardys all pretty much full up, and it was really cool seeing the photos and stuff from that.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the video, make sure you do have a look at the video of the complete Superman homepage meet and greet, and that was fantastic to be there again in the Hardys and have all those people there filling up the Hardys restaurant for the Superman homepage meet and greet. We had so many Blu-rays and DVDs to give away thanks to Warner Brothers Home Video. We had a really nice 3D Superman comic book cover thanks to the Comic Shadow, who do these shadow boxes of Superman comic books or any comic book in a 3D format where it's kind of layered with foam to give that 3D effect. They donated a cover of Superman checking out all his different costumes, one of those variant covers from a few issues ago, and we just had a lot of fun. We weren't just reading out numbers and people coming up collecting prizes. We were doing games and had trivia and had some quizzes and things, and people were really getting involved, and it really was a great atmosphere there. But just right across the celebration, having so many different people to chat with and meeting people like Jim Bowers from CapedWonder.com. We've known each other for over 20 years but never met in person. I also met Jay Towers from Fox 2 TV, and just great people Douglas Meacham, who's in the comments now, chatting away. We'd met 5 years ago and have known each other online for a while now, and he's been a sponsor of this show for a while now. But we hung out pretty much the whole time with his girlfriend Maddie and my sister Carol and our friend Phil and other people that we just met. It was just like, how good's this? Just hanging out with Superman fans the whole 4 days. It was really such an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I'm glad. It seems like there are things that are different. Like the Baymont was completely rebuilt, and the place y'all eat was had a fire a couple years ago, didn't it? And then reopened.
Yeah, I think there was something. The Baymont, what do you call it? Next door, the auditorium area. That's not in use anymore at the moment. I think that had some kind of refurbishment or renovation or some kind of damage done. But the Baymont hasn't changed too much. It's kind of not necessarily the place to go as far as accommodation is concerned. The Harrah's is really probably a bit more upmarket, but still the people at Baymont and the night parties that you have there after hours is where all the fun happens. But I got to meet John Patrick Van Pelt, had a photo with him. There's a couple other people. I met Ruby. Remember Ruby, who is Super Ruby, who met her and had a photo with her. And just so many different people that have been part of the Superman homepage for many years. Got to meet them and have a chat with them, and really, really enjoyed myself. And got some exclusive interviews with Brandon Routh. Got to chat with him for a good 10-15 minutes. Him and his parents were in the room. And that was, real eye-opener. I also got to meet the two guys from the Krypton TV series, Sean Sipos and Blake Ritson, who play Adam Strange and Brainiac. They were really cool guys, just riffing off each other. And also got to chat with Jack O'Halloran, not on camera, but met Jack and John Hames Newton, who have both been part of the show. Ilya Salkind looked a bit worse for wear, actually. He looks a bit frail at the moment. Aaron Smolinski, what a great guy. Jeez, he was just really down to earth, and met him down at the Fat Ed's grill house and steakhouse, whatever called it, the bar and grill, and he was a really cool guy. And who else was there? I think that was the extent of it. So had a lot of fun. I'm running at the mouth at the moment, just excited to talk to you about it. You earned it, sir. You earned all of that. I mean, that was cool.
Just the interview with Brandon Routh and the fact that you mentioned that his parents were there was just so utterly charming, and just adds to the fact that this is just one of the most down to earth guys ever. Anyways,
yeah.
Like any interview I've ever heard with him, he's been like that. So the fact that his parents were in the room with him is just that's actually really cool to me.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy. There's a photo of the two of us together after our interview. And we'd met back in 2005 when he was filming Superman Returns here in Sydney. I was part of a press junket that was there. But to get that recognition from him, and when he told his mum that I was the guy that ran the Superman homepage, he was just like, she was like, oh, wow, oh, yeah. Or, she recognized the site. So that was really cool. And getting to see Josh Boltinghouse, the official town Superman, who's really bulked up even more than when I first met him 5 and 10 years ago, was fantastic as well. Jeff East, I didn't get the chance to run into Jeff East. He was, unfortunately, his plane was delayed the first day that he was supposed to be there. And we have had him on the show, so which is one of those ones that goes down as a memory that we'll never forget.
It's a bar that has been set that is yet to be jumped over. So
yes.
I was very excited, and you may notice I do actually have a Superman cup now, so I can drink on camera again.
I saw that. Noticed that. Greg in the comments is asking if the newspaper in Metropolis is called the Daily Planet. It's actually called the Metropolis Planet. But they do have a Daily Planet Globe or a Metropolis Planet Globe out the front of the offices there, and they do a special newspaper, Daily Planet newspaper, for the Superman celebration as a commemorative thing that you can take away with you.
Yeah, I would assume that they would probably run into some kind of copyright and trademark issues calling themselves the Daily Planet and existing in Metropolis, Illinois. So,
indeed. All right, so that was the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois. Loved it, absolutely had a ball. it was a long and tedious trip getting there and then coming home, especially doing all of that within a week. I've never been on a 17-hour non-stop flight, but for some reason our return flight took us through Houston. So I actually did go to Planet Houston, and we flew 17 hours from Houston to Sydney, which was, a time I'll never get back in my life. But it absolutely gave me enough time to sit with my laptop on my tray table and edit all the videos that I'd done on my phone and my laptop together, so that when I got back, I was just bang, upload them, and away we go.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in like a little tube like that for 17 straight hours. I mean, it's kind of nice on one hand that you don't have to do as many layovers and get off the plane and get back on, but at the same time, good Lord.
Yeah, I did a few of those layovers. Like we went from Sydney to San Francisco to Chicago, and Chicago to Paducah, which is the closest, as you know, airport. And then on the way back, Paducah to Chicago to Houston, and then Houston to Sydney. So, too much flying. I don't want to see another airplane for quite some time. Thank you very much. But let's move on and talk about some of the stuff that happened while I was away and while we haven't been on Facebook Live for a while. And Teen Choice Award nominations were announced, and Henry Cavill has received a nomination for his role as Superman in Justice League. He's been nominated for the Action Movie Actor category and finds himself up against Chris Evans, Dylan O'Brien, John Boyega, Tom Holland, and Robert Downey Jr. for their other superhero and action movies. And August 12th is when the Teen Choice Awards will premiere on Fox. So get voting. Head to teenchoice.com and see all the details on how you can vote for Henry in that category.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised you had 3 Avengers basically on that list, but only one member of the Justice League. I'm kind of surprised that Ben Affleck or one of the Jason Momoa or anything didn't get nominated as well. So I'm just going to assume at this point that Superman was the standout part of Justice League, and we'll just go with that.
So there you have it. There the other actors up for that same award, and Henry was so excited about being nominated for that award. He posted a thing on his Instagram account, first a photo showing how excited he was, and then a video showing himself doing some very heavy exercises. It says, working on the super buns, which if you vote for me in the Teen Choice Awards and I end up winning, then you may or may not see them in a tight blue outfit much sooner, but totally probably.
Wow, that's vague without being non-committal. I was, you want to get Superman fans in a tizzy, even just slightly hint that there's a chance that there's another film coming up, and we'll just freak out on social media. Well, hey, guys got to work out. I don't have anything there to work out, so it's okay.
And his exercises, impressive as he gets back into shape. So we wish him the best of luck for the Teen Choice Awards, which he's been nominated for. And speaking of the Teen Choice Awards, Supergirl has also had some nominations in the Teen Choice Awards. I think Supergirl, the show itself, has been nominated for the Action TV Show category, and then Melissa Benoist has been nominated for her role as Action TV Actress, and Chris Woods for his role as Mon-El received a nomination for Action TV Actor.
Yeah, and after this last season, both of them really deserve to win. It was such a step up from last year, and I know we're going to be talking about it, so I don't want to get too much into it. But wow, what a great way to end the season!
Well, let's get into that. Well, there's the graphic for the Teen Choice Awards, but let's get into the Supergirl season finale. Actually, no, let's just quickly, before we get there, because I just wanted to get back to Henry Cavill for a sec. He teased his return as Superman, as I just mentioned, but he also shared his favourite Superman image, which I think, and comic, which I think you'll have something to say about. His, just let me get that graphic off there. He's said that his favourite comic book is the For Tomorrow book right there, and that he loves this. He says, for National Superman Day, which was on June 12th there, I wanted to post a page from what is, hands down, my favourite Superman book, Superman for Tomorrow, drawn by the inimitable Jim Lee, penned by Brian Azzarello, inked by Scott Williams, and coloured by Alex Sinclair. Absolutely fantastic work by those men, and work that I'm very thankful for. This, for me, is Superman. Thoughts?
You know, a lot of people shared that he shared that. I guess that's the best way to say that. And, you know, far be it from me to argue with
Taste.
the man that actually, yeah, well, one, taste, but also, he's worn the costume, I've worn the t-shirt, so, you know, he's had to embody the character physically. For Tomorrow is not a story that I care for, but if you are not as steeped in the material or do not have as much of an emotional connection after reading the books for nearly 20 years, which is where I was when For Tomorrow came out, I could see where someone would pick this up and really like it. Because it is an introspective look at Superman. I think there are parts of that story that just don't work. But I think the scenes between Superman and the priest are something that, if you're unfamiliar with the character or only are familiar with the character through the movies, and you see that, suddenly he's more human. So I could totally see where he's coming from on this.
Fair enough. Yep, that's a very mature way of disagreeing with him.
It's just, I am so tired of Superman fandom arguing with itself that basically at this point, you could tell me that you want to use John Byrne's Man of Steel for toilet paper, and I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine. I mean, it's pretty cheap now, so I think toilet paper would be cheaper, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, why, he shouldn't like that? How dare he? I mean, he's been up in the rig. I haven't. So he gets to... He is more than welcome to any opinion he has on the character. Fair
enough, too. All right, then. Well, let's move away from the movie stuff and look at Supergirl, because the season finale did air last night there, or was it the night before? No, last night there, and I watched it here in Australia, and it was titled Battles Lost and Won, and it was episode 23 of season 3, which was, as I said, the finale, and there was an epic battle between Supergirl and her team to take on Serena and the other Kryptonian women in an epic battle for Earth that obviously dealt with rain and everything that that entails. I've been on the record as saying I love time travel stories. I'm always intrigued by time travel stories. This one was a little convoluted for me, and there was a lot packed into this episode, and there were a lot of threads that they needed to kind of touch on, with everything going on with James, everything going on with Lena, everything going on with Alex, and then there was Jean and his dad, and then there was Wynn and the Legion, and Kara and her mother, and all that kind of stuff going on. There was so much that really was packed into it, so there was things that maybe couldn't be touched on or couldn't be explained as well as they maybe should have. But I felt that I got a little bit of a Smallville vibe. Remember that episode where Lana got killed and he went back in time and changed things and ended up being Jonathan who was killed? I kind of got a little bit of a vibe of that, or it reminded me of that quickly. But I just really didn't get the concept of how she was able to go back in time, and it just kind of seemed really pat that this guy, oh look, find an anomaly or whatever it is for me, and then she just shoots through it, and then she just happens to get back into the right amount of time, and she's there back being choked again by rain. But where is the Supergirl that went back in time? Because shouldn't there be two of them then? And
well, what about that last scene?
Well, that last scene is that tied in, or is that just because of the Huronel or whatever it's called that made it seem like it was almost like black kryptonite splitting her in two?
Yeah, I was very satisfied by, as you said, how all the threads were wrapped up. They did have a lot of ground to cover, and I think to a large extent, except for that one part, everybody got their moment at the end, especially Wynn, who I thought, I was kind of sad to hear that Jeremy Jordan is going, but I've been saying for a while now that he is so immensely talented. He's not, I don't want to go so far as to say he's being wasted on Supergirl, because his talents are being, he's very talented in the role, but that man is amazing. So just kind of playing tech guy may not be where he wants to be in his career. The one thing I thought about the time travel thing was, okay, so Barry Allen does this, and everybody's mad at him forever, and it causes all of these insane complications, and people who are supposed to be alive are now dead. But Supergirl does it, everyone's saved, and we just kind of roll on. I mean, is that what we're going with that? But everything else was just so amazing that I'm just, I'm willing to let it go. And, that's kind of what Alfred Hitchcock would call a refrigerator moment, where you don't think about it at the time, but at 3 a.m. when you're up, like, getting a drink, and you open the fridge and suddenly you start thinking about it. That's what it is kind of for me. But yeah, I was a little weirded out by that. I'm like, did she just go back in time to fix something? That doesn't, okay, yeah, so she found a way to defeat Rain without
killing her,
violating her own principles, but the space-time continuum's fine to be violated like that. It was just so weird.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but as you said, it was a great episode. All, with everything encompassing of all the other different actors and their characters and their roles and their stories being wrapped up. What happens with Wynn and Mon-El's decision and Allura. Is it Allura?
Yeah, Allura.
Yeah. Just all that, everything kind of wrapping up. Alex now being the director of the DEO, and Jean deciding to be amongst the people. There's a lot of changes in all the different characters' plot lines and what their roles will be moving for season 4. And as for that ending, they've already come out and said that they're using inspiration from the Superman Red Sun comic book storyline for season 4. So I'm wondering if this duplicate doppelganger Supergirl may not necessarily be evil, but will be a different Kara from in a different location.
Yeah, I think what I liked more than anything is when you watch these CW DC shows, Flash and Arrow specifically, they bend over backwards to keep the characters together. And I think it's kind of brave for Supergirl to shake things up, because it makes me feel like there's a progression here. Like, Alex has actually gone through something, and she is now the director. John's going to still be around, but he's going to be using what happened to him to kind of move forward. Wynn is going to the future, and Brainiac 5 is staying behind, because you need a smart guy. Rain's storyline was completely wrapped up, so I don't think they'll be bringing her back. Lena is now acting like a Luthor, which I think is really cool. I mean, just everything about the way this series is going just makes me think that they are more concerned with telling really good stories and progressing these characters, instead of trying to maintain a status quo for the sake of episodic television. Yeah,
no, I agree. And I love the Star Wars reference in there. And Brainiac 5 not really getting where it was from, but as soon as I heard her say it, I knew it was a Star Wars quote.
Yeah.
And then they explained it, which I thought was a little bit unnecessary.
Not a single Star Wars? You've never...
So, yeah, Season 3, all in all, I thought it was a stronger season than Season 2. I enjoyed it more, and I thought that the development of the characters and the shipping kind of element wasn't as strong as it was in Season 2, which for me was a bonus. So looking forward to seeing where they go in Season 4. A lot more character-driven stories, hopefully, and just really intriguing to see where they go with this doppelganger Supergirl.
Absolutely. It's the best type of cliffhanger in that it doesn't, it's not Jean-Luc Picard stepping forward and suddenly he's a Borg, but it's also not like, oh, well, I don't really care about this coming back.
Yeah. So wait and see what happens with Season 4, but you can collect the complete third season on Blu-ray and DVD out September 18th. You can pre-order it now through the Superman homepage website if you're so inclined. So that is out September 18th. Alright, so before we move away from Supergirl, I did want to mention something else that's on the TV front. There's a bit of an indication that we might see Superboy or Connor on the live-action Titans series that has been announced.
Yeah, this is... I kind of first heard about that today, and I'm like, well, that would be interesting. It's an easy costume to do. It's a black T-shirt and a pair of jeans, so it's not like they would have to break the budget on that. But I'd be interested in that only because the Teen Titans that he was a part of was a really solid group, and I really liked that title. Plus, it would be nice for Connor to come back in some way. I know a lot of people, and I say a lot of people, and when you say a lot of people these days, it's like 5 people that you saw on Twitter. But I know a lot of people, are kind of chomping at the bit for him to come back because he was kind of a beloved character for over a decade. So I'd be totally down with him going on the Titans. I'm not saying that would be the one to push me over to subscribe to their network. They're going to have to pony up a little more than 3 TV shows for me to do that, but I'd be down for it. Yeah,
well, it's the rumor comes from a casting breakdown that was obtained by a podcast called That Hashtag Show, and supposedly it's for episode 13 of that Titans TV series, and it says, being referred to as David, he's a 20s-something Caucasian male with dark hair who would guest star in the 13th episode, which is the Season 1 finale. David is described as a powerful individual who is merciless, so much so that he has recently unleashed chaos to the people who have been keeping David as a prisoner in a mysterious lab. When we find David, he will have recently have escaped his lab. Whoever we see in the role would have a series regular option for consecutive seasons of Titans. David.
Well, if it's not Superboy, it's Superboy.
So we'll have to wait and see whether that one pans out, but watch this space. Alright, we're going to take a quick break. We're at about the halfway point of tonight's show, our welcome back show, if you will, after a couple of weeks off. We're going to play a couple of messages, and then we're going to come back on the flip side to talk about comic book stuff with the Man of Steel miniseries, September solicitations, and so much more. We'll be back right after these messages, so stand by.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode, so stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Oh, that outfit's adorable! It's perfect! I think it's time to have some fun at Burger King. Excellent! Yeah, that sounds great. What are you watching?
Superman fighting Brainiac?
Did you turn it down?
Cool new Superman toys are now at Burger King. You can get one with every Kids Club meal.
Well, what have we here?
Wow. Burger King Kids Club. Great food, cool stuff, kids only.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live. And I remember those toys. I've got a few of them. I think I've got all of them displayed here on my shelf.
I never got any of the Burger King toys, which was odd because it's not that I wasn't into that show at all. It's just I just never got to. That's very strange. I'm kind of confused by that.
Have to search them out now.
Well, there is eBay.
So true. All right, well, let's get into the comic book side of things. And since we've been away and haven't done this show for a couple of weeks, we've missed out on talking about the Man of Steel miniseries, which has had 3 issues to date released by writer Brian Michael Bendis and different artists for each issue. I'm guessing that you've been reading as they've been coming out?
Oh, yes. Every week I've been going to the shop and getting the latest issue just because I am that excited about the series.
And to date, I've really been impressed with what the story that's being told. So much has been shaken up by, especially in issue number 3, with what's happened with the Fortress of Solitude. I was like, What? What's going on here?
Well, it's funny because over the last couple of weeks I've been watching kind of the reactions, and most of it has been pretty positive. And from the DC Nation Zero preview and the first couple of issues, it's very. It feels authentic. It feels like this is Superman. This feels like somebody that actually cares about the character and wants him to be portrayed in a certain way. He's not trying to change him to make not younging him up or making him kind of dark and depressed and all that so that people can relate to him. He's Superman. With what happened with Kandor, I think this is the indication that, okay, if you're going to shake things up, something's got to give. And Kandor is one of those things where it matters to a certain segment of the readership, especially those that were, pre-crisis Superman fans. But to me, it was a really emotional moment of the issue where he was just angry. And I just, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like the new guy coming in and kicking over the apple cart. But on the other hand, it's a legit way to bring some seriousness to this character, who I really like as a villain. A lot of people seem to be upset that he's being worked into Superman's origin. How many origins have we had? In 80 years, how are we gonna get as mad at like John Byrne for suggesting that it was a terrorist group that launched a nuclear weapon to the core that ultimately caused it to be destroyed? I mean, these things evolve, so why not some guy who just thinks Kryptonians need to die?
Yeah, and they did it in Superman the Animated Series with Brainiac being involved in Krypton's destruction. A lot of people liked that idea, so it's not the first time that a writer has inserted a character as being somewhat responsible or behind some element of Krypton's destruction. At this point in time, we don't know what the full story is about Rogol Zar, but we do know that he is adamant that Kryptonians need to be dead, and therefore is doing his utmost to make sure that in the here and now that Kal-El and Kara are both done away with. And so there is a lot going on there. I love the relationship between Superman and Supergirl here. I think it's a real kind of throwback to the way things should be. And there's just so much going on. We don't know what's happened with Lois and Jonathan yet. We're still waiting to find out that kind of keeps being teased along the way in these couple of issues. So we know that he's kind of hiding the fact that something has happened and keeping it from Kara and from some of the other people in his life because he's still trying to work that mystery out. But all in all, it's just there's so many plot elements here that are just keeping you in reading and just keep you on the edge of your seat.
And even though we've had a different artist for every issue, I really haven't been taken out of the story with that. And I think we're getting some of the best Superman art that we, just continuing on from, Patrick Gleason and Patrick Zurcher and the others and Art T. Bear and everybody else who worked on Superman, during the Rebirth era. We've just been kind of blessed. It's an embarrassment of riches of really solid artists. And, just Ivan Reis, he really became one of the superstar artists of DC, from drawing things like Blackest Night to the Brightest Day miniseries to the Aquaman to Justice League. I mean, this guy is one of the heavy hitters, and just to see him working, that DC is placing this much faith in Superman to have one of their superstar artists on it is just it's really, just everything about how this series is unfolding just makes me like, okay, I was right to not be worried about this. And looking at the solicitations, and looking at what Brian Michael Bendis released on Instagram today about a character that's going to be in Superman #2, it's just like, wow, this is just going to be insane for the next year or so. Yes,
indeed. And speaking of the solicitations, DC Comics have released the September solicitations, and we highlighted for you all the Superman-related comics and products that were in those solicitations, including the continuation of Action Comics 1003, which I've got the cover for here, and very much like the John Byrne era, Batman doesn't take long to come into Superman's stories.
Well, I don't think it's on purpose, or an accident, excuse me. I don't think it's an accident that Batman was in Man of Steel #3, and he was in Man of Steel #3. So having him, and part of me is just like, really? How many times does Superman show up in Batman's book? But on the other hand, he was in and out, and Batman wasn't a jerk, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I love the how he was there for the fires and that firefighter investigator, and she's going like, Superman disappears, and he says, well, when the politest man on Earth has to leave without saying goodbye, then you know that there's something urgent that requires his attention.
Yeah, I like when I heard that he was in it, I was annoyed, but then I read the issue and I was like, I gotta just let this stuff go. I really just gotta let it go.
Yeah. But so that's the issue there. As you can see, the cover, Batman kind of shielding Superman from kryptonite. And then we have also this next cover, which is Superman #3, which has the Rogol Zaar in it right there and then. That description of that comic book reads, guest starring the Justice League, locked inside the Phantom Zone, the Earth stands poisoned, and its heroes lie dying with no idea how to escape the deadly Kryptonian trap. But an even deadlier threat invades as Rogol Zaar teams with those who have been imprisoned inside the Phantom Zone to use Earth to escape, not caring if they destroy the planet to do it.
That is, I'm kind of glad that Rogol Zaar is not going to be one of these villains that is used for this miniseries and then just completely sidelined. On the other hand, I also like that the other Superman title is going to be more Metropolis bound. So we're going to get to see some of that, because one of the things about the New 52 that I absolutely hated is that Superman's supporting cast was just gutted. And you can sit there and tell me, well, they were there here, you could point to examples of where they were there, but just having them as a regular presence and then having them be who they are instead of Perry White just being a jerk, it's just kind of nice that even though we have kind of a new era, they're not chucking everything out just to be different.
And of course, we have Supergirl number 22, which is good to see that Supergirl is coming back. And you've got a number of other titles that have Superman-related elements. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 26 continues with there's Bizarro in that. You've got Green Lanterns number 54 and 55 involve Superman in some element and Cyborg Superman. And of course, we've got Adventures of Super Sons number 2, so the continuation of that limited series by Peter J. Tomasi is also out in September. And DC Comics announced Tom King and Clay Mann's top secret project is Heroes in Crisis, a 7-issue miniseries starting in September. Says there's a crisis headed towards DC's greatest heroes, but it isn't coming from outer space or another dimension. This time the threat is homegrown. And here is the cover for that particular, where is it? Heroes in Crisis.
I'm kind of fascinated that, and actually really kind of happy that Tom King is having as kind of an emotional hook for this thing. The fact that superheroes would suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome from all the things that they deal with. And that there is this top secret hospital that deals with that. And that some people are dying, so there's a mystery. This really feels like, I'm not saying that the stories, there's no A for A here. This kind of feels like Identity Crisis, almost.
Right. Yep.
Or how that was pitched. Where this is something that hits the DC heroes at like their emotional core. So I'm actually really looking forward to this story, just because of what it could do to bring up the subject of post-traumatic stress syndrome, and that it's not just soldiers coming home from Iraq or Afghanistan or anywhere else in the world. It's people who deal with these things, or just normal people that have gone through a trauma that now have to deal with that for the rest of their lives. So, and Tom King is a great writer. So I'm really looking forward to this series.
So that's the solicitations for September and the things that they've been talking about there. And you did mention, I'm just trying to, in the background, trying to grab this image that you spoke about. Brian Michael Bendis has announced, let me just quickly grab a screen grab of this so that I can post it for you. He announced that Superman for the Quest for Peace villain, Nuclear Man, will be part of Superman 2. And let me bring that screenshot in for you here. Just put that over top of that one there. And that is the image drawn by Ivan Reis that you will see in full color format in Superman 2 with Nuclear Man back in the comic books.
Yeah, not just in the Superman 4 Quest for Peace adaptation.
No, that's right.
It is fascinating. There's just so many people to thank. I'd like to thank Brian Michael Bendis for taking the dare. I'd like to thank Golan Globus for putting this film out that I never got to see in the theater. And thank you to DC Comics for making this happen. You like me. You really, really like me on this.
So there you have it. Yes, and someone just noticed in the comments, Kal-El Samra noticed that the Nuclear Man is wearing a Superman cape.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I am more excited about this than I think is healthy. It's not that Superman 4 was a great movie. It's not even that Superman 4 was a good movie. But Nuclear Man was, in that film series, the closest they got to a comic book supervillain in terms of costume. And I've always been kind of the opinion that you could take that idea and just make it work in the comics, and now it seems like they're actually going to try that.
Yeah, indeed. So Nuclear Man coming, Superman 2, which I think is in August 8th. I think is the release date of that particular comic book. So June, July, August, not far to go, 1.5 months until you'll see Nuclear Man in the comic books. Cannot wait. All right.
It's gonna be great.
Yes. Now, talking about other artists giving us a sneak peek at some of the things that they've got coming, or writers giving us sneak peeks at some artwork. Gene Luen Yang gave us a sneak peek at the artwork for his upcoming DC Zoom periodical, Superman Smashes the Klan. Now, here's the image for you. As you can see there's Superman in the middle, which is very much a kind of, I guess, a throwback to more like of a golden age. You know, the black background behind the S. You've got Lois and Jimmy there. Some other gentleman in a trench coat and cap or a fedora. You've got a kid in a baseball uniform and a little girl in a little blue dress there. And if this is somewhat based on Superman versus the KKK from the 1940s Superman radio series, I will be its #1 supporter.
Me too. $10 says the guy in the fedora is Inspector Henderson.
Yeah, probably. And I remember there was an Asian boy in baseball.
Yep.
Thing that in the story.
Yeah, he was made the pitcher, and that's what kind of set everything in motion. Because one of the other kids complained about it, and his racist father, who I'm not going to make that joke because I'm trying to be positive on this show, but or racist uncle kind of set everything in motion. So if this is kind of a quasi, like you said, if this is a quasi adaptation of the Clan of the Fiery Cross, I can't tell you how excited I will buy 5 copies of this and give it to people, just because if they could pull this off, one, it opens the door for other Superman radio series serials to be. I mean, I would love to see Superman versus Atom Man adapted into like a graphic novel, but just this story in particular, especially after reading that book about how the whole thing happened, I'm over the moon for this. I really am.
And we don't know who the artist is yet. I haven't seen any credit given to whoever drew this, but it's kind of fitting that Gene Luen Yang is the one behind writing this adaptation of this. I'm sure it's something that resonates with him. And this is, one of many DC Zoom and DC Inc. Publications that will be coming out, some for middle school readers and others for young adults. And this is under the DC Zoom imprint, but other ones that we will see are Super Sons, the Polar Shield Project. We'll see DC Superhero Girl Spaced Out, and others that will start in April, May 2019. So I don't know when DC Superman Smashes the Klan will come out under the DC Zoom imprint, but I cannot wait for it. Looking forward to seeing it sometime, I guess, early next year.
Oh yeah, it's just, when I saw that Golden Age look to it, I just lit up. I'm like, oh, that is exactly what you need to do with that story.
Exactly. All right, well, let's have a look at some of the Superman comic books coming out this week. And as I bring up the graphics, we'll go through them one by one. We have, to start with, the Chapter 63 of Injustice 2, a digital comic. We also have Injustice 2 print edition number 28 out this week. Justice League number 2 is also out this week if you're enjoying this new relaunch of the Justice League series. It also comes in a variant cover by Jim Lee, which is weird kind of looking cover. It's not one of his best images if you ask me. And then you've got Man of Steel number 4. We're just speaking about the miniseries. Number 4 comes out this week. Then on the trade paperback front, you've got Justice League Volume 6, The People versus the Justice League. You've got Superman 0 Hour trade paperback out this week as well. And you've got Trinity Volume 2, Dead Space, also out this week.
I cannot recommend Superman 0 Hour enough. The 0 Hour issues of Superman were great. The Zero issues were great, but it also reprints the Superboy and Steel issues from 0 Hour and 0 Month. So, that's a really good collection.
Cool.
I'm so glad they did it.
Now, looking at San Diego Comic-Con is not far away. It's July 19th to July 22nd, so a month away at the San Diego San Diego Convention Center. I saw our good friend Douglas Meacham, who is based around that area, going through the convention center recently just to take a look around that area. I guess it's going to be a lot busier in a month's time, so you probably won't be as freely walking around it as he was there. But already the exclusives for San Diego Comic-Con are being announced, and Mattel has unveiled that they will be releasing a Action Comics #1 figure set, which I will bring up the image for you right now. So let's see, let's turn that on. So there you go, but it's a Superman first appearance figure and Action Sedan first appearance. So you've got the two particular items. You've got the Superman figure, which is right there, and you've got the green sedan that he is throwing over his head there. And then on the back cover it says, 80 years ago the world was introduced to Superman by Action Comics #1, and its riveting cover illustration of this legendary superhero powerlifting a sedan over his head. As a result, it became the most valuable and sought after comic book in the world. Now, to celebrate this iconic moment, Hot Wheels debuts its die-cast version of this famous car in a 3D diorama featuring a new sculpt of the Man of Steel himself. So there you have it. Really cool collectible. Unfortunately, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, so it will sell for $20 there, but you'll probably see it online for a lot more on eBay afterwards.
Oh yeah, that thing's going on eBay like almost immediately after going on sale. So I think it's. I read like the headline, like, you know, Action Comics #1 Hot Wheels, and I'm like, what is that all about? This thing is adorable. It really is, and the fact that they're celebrating his birthday in this fashion, I just, oh man, why do they have to make these things exclusive to one convention?
I know. Disappointing. But there you have it.
I say.
Exactly. So yeah, that's at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and I'm sure there'll be other exclusive items that will be announced, and hopefully they also get released in some kind of other capacity afterwards, if not on eBay, like I said, people saying for $100 or more. But we'll wait and see. And was there anything else in the last couple of weeks that we missed out on covering? That did we talk about the Krypton finale? We've both seen that now, I'm pretty sure. So cannot wait for season 2 of that to kick off.
Yeah, I had 3 weeks off and I didn't watch Krypton. It's all on my DVR.
What have you been doing?
I have no idea why. You would think that I would use the time while you were away to do that, and yet I was more focused on the fact that my DVR kept unsubscribing Supergirl, so I would have to go back and re-find it and all that. You can give me the disappointed look. It's okay. It's
okay. All right. Well,
you can still talk about it. I mean,
no, that's cool.
Talking about it on social media, so I was completely spoiled.
Yeah, no, well, I think we kind of showed some of the promos and teasers for season 2 coming up, and I mentioned in my interview with Sean Sipos and Blake Ritson about why would you put the most dangerous creature in the universe behind a glass window for him to punch out of, but they kind of looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Probably haven't seen it.
Wow, so they don't know what's going on?
I don't think anybody does except the writers who are busily getting behind the scenes figuring all what they're going to be doing for season 2. But yeah, if you haven't checked out some of the interviews that I did at the Superman celebration this year, definitely check them out. Especially there's one interview that I did with a young Superman fan by the name of Talia, a 10-year-old girl who... I was walking just out of the Smallville tent up there where they were showing a screening of Superman the movie, and this I was walking. It's about 10 o'clock at night. I'm walking back down towards the Superman statue. You can picture it in your head, Michael, from the Noah O'Neill statue where it is, right down back towards the Superman statue, and this young girl kind of races along next to me and asks if I'm Steve Eunice from the Superman homepage, and I said yes, that's me, and she said. just wondering if I could take a photo with you. And I said, yeah, I'd be happy to. And her mum's like following behind saying, she said that you're somebody, a celebrity, she wanted to take a photo with you. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, I'd love to. And I kind of had a chat with her, and she was going to come up. I said to her, you're going to come to the Superman homepage meet and greet, which was the next morning. And her and her mum said, yeah, they'd be there. And so I did a little interview with her after the meet and greet inside the Hardys there on the Friday morning, because I thought it was fantastic that, one, this young girl had the courage just to come up to, a strange guy in the middle of the street and ask if he was who she thought he was. And second, that she and her mum, a 10-year-old girl and her mother, 6-hour drive from Texas, had come to the Superman celebration because they were Superman fans and just wanted to soak it all up. And I was like, how good is this? Let's celebrate the fact that mother and her daughter have come to a Superman celebration, and that we have young, Superman fans, boys and girls, who are right into Superman and following the Superman homepage. And it's just like, we need to make sure that this is something that people know about and celebrate that. So there's a really cute little interview that I did with Talia right there in the Hardys, which was like 5 minutes after the Superman celebration. So that was a really cool interview. I was really kind of chuffed that I got to meet her.
Yeah, I'm glad the mother was cool with everything, because usually if a small child comes up to me, I get kind of nervous just because of how society is today. But that's absolutely adorable. I'm really glad. One, I'm really glad that people were recognizing you on the street, which I think you totally deserve. And two, like you said, that is great that there is now another generation that is not only excited about Superman, but is involved in the fandom. And, we really have to... I honestly think that kind of behooves us more to be on our best behavior when we're online.
Yes.
Not just because it's a little kid, but it's just, it's somebody new to this. And I think there's so many gatekeepers in all fandoms. I mean, Star Wars fandom is right now trying to tear itself apart. I look at that and go, yeah, I remember what that was like. Yep, right there with you. But I think, we need to celebrate more of a daughter and her mother driving 6 hours to go to a 4-day Superman festival, and less of people getting mad because a writer did this or that.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm on a soapbox right now, but I'm just kind of angry at the world at the moment, so I'm trying to take pleasure in the things that are supposed to give me pleasure, and a lot of people don't seem to want to do that, so I'm kind of mad about that too.
And I want to congratulate my friend Douglas, who's there. There's a photo of him, who won the auction for the Dan Jurgens drawn Action Comics 1000, and it's like a one-of-a-kind sketch there, signed by Dan Jurgens, which was exclusive to the Superman celebration, and he was sticking around in that auction, making sure that he got that particular comic book, and well done to him for winning that auction.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a snazzy dresser too, Douglas. He's a super nice guy. Can't say enough good things about Douglas. So, I think he's wearing is that a Christopher Reeve Superman shirt?
It is. It was indeed. So I think he's said it was from... He'll tell me in a second in the chat room where he got it from. One of those online T-shirt places.
Because they do that, and they do a George Reeves, if I'm correct.
He'll tell us in a second, but I'm sure he's just kind of embarrassed at the moment that I showed that photo of him on the show.
Hey, he posts enough photos of himself online. He should not be embarrassed of you posting a photo here.
Indeed. All right, so, well, that pretty much does it for tonight's show. Before we do finish off, I want to thank everyone for signing into tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live and watching us here after a couple of weeks break. He tells me it's from tpublic.com, so there you go if you want that shirt, tpublic.com. And a huge thank you to everyone who watched the show tonight, and everyone in the comments there in the Facebook comments section, and a big thank you to you, my co-host Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you back, Steve.
Thank you. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray and Douglas Meacham. And if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, then please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you too can be a sponsor of our site for as little as $3. The complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our Facebook page if you'd like to watch it back, or perhaps you missed part of the show. But we'll be back next week, hopefully with Scotty V, on Tuesday, June 26th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.